Because that's what the other Kawesi, was he called Kawesi? The one who was saying that why do we go to the Arab countries to look for jobs when they are here? It is a mindset problem. Mindset meaning you don't have the spectacles to see what is available for you. And that's what they are talking about. Okay.
But what can we, how?
And that's what we were struggling with in the 1960s. That was part of the problem. And mindset, like for instance, when NRM came from the bush, the 10 points program, point number 5 was talking of the building an economy which is independent, integrated, and self-sustaining. And it is that effort, which is not fully implemented, just partially, that has made Uganda succeed. The other day, during the New Year's speech, I told you that now our export earnings are more than our import bill by more than $2 billion. We've got a surplus on the I think they call it current account, or I don't know how they call it. So this is because of that value addition. The shirt I'm putting on is from Ugandan cotton. But in the past, this was being made in, I don't know where. But we had to insist until there was full integration through these a few companies like, what is it called, the one?
Fine spinners?
Fine spinners, and then native. Now, this is the crisis in Africa. Even coffee, we are still exporting unprocessed coffee. We are struggling to add value to it. And when you export unprocessed coffee, you get $2.5 per kilo. A very good coffee called Screen 18. But when you add value, you can go up to $40 per kilo. That's how the coffee business in the world is $460 billion. But the coffee producing countries of the whole world, including Uganda, take only 25 billion out of the 460 billion. A country like Germany, which has no coffee, earns $65 billion from coffee by using the coffee of the sleeping people. In Hamburg, you have got all the coffee processing there in Hamburg. Germany earns more from coffee than all the coffee producing countries of the world. So this is the mindset. This is the mindset change we are struggling with at the local level, at the individual people's level.
Is there a way that we can all, that more of our young people can access?
It can be in the school system. In the school system, they are beginning to introduce it, the new syllabus. Because the new syllabus was talking about skills. To go back to our tradition, the yoga.
Okay.
For instance, when you get a degree in what? Conflict resolution. Now, what's that? What? Somebody even gets PhD. But what will you do? What if the conflicts are not there? What will you do? So you can find the education system had been derailed really it is as if it was deliberate to make Africa import dependent. Import everything. Even food. So the syllabus, the new syllabus, the new curriculum, which we worked out, is attempting to send back people to skills. Yes, me, I'm a man of literature. I can quote for you Shakespeare, what Shakespeare said, how he was standing, he was looking this way, and he said this. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Museveni. It shows that you can remember things. But what are you going to eat? But I have my mwoga. I am a cattle keeper. Literature is just for interest. So that one is the one which will reorient us, which reoriented us, and that's how we manage it, and then others can also join us.
Thank you, Mzee.
To have a society of skills.
Of skills and of a self-sufficient thinking, maybe.
Yes.
Our next question is from Isaac Katende, popularly known as... That's you, right? Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Hello? Yes. Thank you, Natasha. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Good morning, His Excellency.
Morning, Katende.
How are you doing, sir?
Very well.
I can see. Things seem to be going well for you. Now, just a minute, Madam Natasha, I just want to borrow just 2 minutes before I ask my question. I hope the camera is getting me well. Okay, so we are live on Kasuku Live, and I want to tell all my followers out there that welcome to the presidential edition of Kasuku Live. We came and finally we get to ask the big man our questions. So before I go any further, I would want to first shout out to my people out there. My Jaja is watching alongside my son and my wife. Mwenamba tumiddeko banaye gye muli eyo mugamba mutya. Zubeda wangambye omukulu we mutuukako nkwogereko. Ogamba otya Shalom, Frank Ntambi, nammwe mwenna abali eyo. Kansubire nti muli bulungi. So the question I have is about digital media, Your Excellency. Today I don't want to brag, but I'm one of the biggest YouTubers in this country. In real time here, we had over 10,000 people before we went off that we are watching on Kasuku Live. So that means it is something very big. For the youth, we are making money off these platforms. Like you can see, Natasha is here with her phone and a stand. And today you're talking to over 2 million, 3 million, 5 million Ugandans with all of us combined. But we have not yet seen government involvement in supporting us. We are not talking of supporting us in terms of giving us money because we are making the money. Of course, courtesy of the environment the government has placed for us to be able to work. But we are seeing issues like the cost of internet is high. We are seeing platforms like YouTube being shut down. A very good example I'll give you. Today we have people on TikTok, like all of these. If you ask these people where they were 3 years ago, they were putting on suits, going to offices to ask for jobs. Today they will tell you they are able to make 3 million shillings a month and they feed their families. So we are trying to find out how do we get the government to support the digital space? How do we get government to enhance, to understand from the things you've been explaining to us, farming and all of this, the digital space brings us closer. It connects us, the farmers, the manufacturers. But we are not seeing government coming up to tell us or even to understand what the digital space is. Of course, people talk about digital this, digital that, but we have not yet seen someone who has come up to grasp it. Where Natasha is trying, you can see, she's putting up these engagements for us, you know, to come and talk to you. But we want the technocrats, we want you to understand that even if we are not farming, but we can use this digital space because it has so many apps like YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. People are selling items there, people are creating content on there, and they are making money, they are very okay. However, what we have received now, we see government coming up, shutting down Facebook. Some government officials are telling us we shall lock down TikTok, you know, all those things. And then we are wondering, if this is trying to solve the issue of unemployment, how come nobody is trying to come closer to us to understand how this works and to see how they can help us? I
can see that Katende lives in Jerusalem, but doesn't know what is happening there. I was the first follower of that capacity of the digital. Because previously we were depending on satellite, people who were communicating by radio, by digital, electronic. We are doing so through satellite. The physics of that is line of sight. That's the physics of satellite. It's like I see with my eye, then enhanced. But it was very expensive. I don't have the details here. There was so many dollars per megabyte or so. There's something there, the way they calculate it. Is it megabyte or what? The cost. Per what? It was a lot of money. So Katende didn't know that I'm the one who worked very hard to bring the backbone, the underground network. What do you call it? Huh?
Fiber.
The internet. Yes, I am the one. I'm here. There was a problem which I were following very closely. Of course, Katene didn't know because he was comfortable in his house. But me, I was not sleeping because the undersea cable from Asia was passing through the port near, through Eden. It was passing through Eden to the Red Sea and going to Europe. And then another undersea cable was passing from Cape Town, Atlantic. So there was a gap between Eden and South Africa, which we worked with so many people. There's now undersea cable to Mombasa, to Dar es Salaam, and then underground cable from there to here now, from Mombasa and from Dar es Salaam. And that's how the cost came down. The cost, you can get the figures how it came down from so much by satellite to so much now. It is much now. There was a tax there. We had put a tax. I don't remember. I think that's what you should discuss. if the technology now is there, because the underground cable is there, and it is being sent to all parts of the country, you can check. I think even Arua now may already be having the underground cable. That's the infrastructure which is crucial. Now, if there are any other little issues like tax or what, that can be looked at. But the infrastructure, we foresaw that and we put it there. Now, there were attempts by the telephone companies to monopolize, but we said no. Electricity, the railway, and the internet backbone, they call it internet backbone, must be owned by the government, so that we are not there to make profit. We are there to facilitate business, as we are saying. Now, closing Facebook, yes, we closed it. I closed it, Facebook. Nilifunga. Because they were idiots. They thought they could insult us, play around with us, and we would not close them. We closed them. And I waited for the cows not to go to graze. The cows are going to graze. Fishermen are fishing. Uganda is continuing. We closed it like 5 years ago. Forgot about it. So we want to put discipline among them. There's no other issue. Otherwise, if they behave well, fairly, we shall open them up. We have no problem. The only thing there would have to be tax. Why the cost? I will check. Why the cost is not even lower? Does anybody here know? Wanyama, would you know? We shall find out and let you know why it is not even lower. Now, recently, I have been in talk with Elon Musk. He has been telling me that his satellite, it's called Starlink, that when I allow him to come here, although it is satellite, because satellite was expensive, that's why we migrated from satellite to underground cable. But Elon Musk has been telling me that no, satellite is now cheaper. They call it last what? When they got the last person.
Last mile.
Huh?
Last mile.
Last mile. There's also something about, they say there about the person, the customer. Direct to the customer. So we are studying that. We shall, if it is true, we shall allow Elon Musk to bring his satellites here. If they can make that digital connection cheaper than the underground, then we shall. I became aware of this long before Katenda was born. When were you born? When were you born?
I was born 6 years after you came.
That time,
No, 4 years.
4 years?
Yes.
1990?
Yes.
Yeah, because when I visited China, 89, that's when I negotiated with what was the company? The one which did the internet? Huawei. That's when I negotiated with Huawei. So we are aware of all of that.
Let's first get some others and then we can come back. Okay? Thank you so much. Kasuku is a big internet personality. Mzee, I'm saying Katende is a big internet. These are big internet personalities. All of them you see here. Mm-hmm. They have very interesting.
I'm very lucky to be.
Yes, indeed.
In the presence of such powerful people.
Yeah. Our next question will be from Mr. Simon Kaheru.
Thank you, Natasha. Your Excellency, first of all, thank you for having us and giving us all this time. My question is pretty simple, and you've already started touching on it. I'm here on behalf of the East African Business Council, so my focus is private sector and regional. And I'm interested in you giving the young people a message around the NRM ideology being built on Pan-Africanism and your consistent championing of regional integration for economic reasons. Even today, you have spoken about it. But many of these young people, not only the ones in the room, but even the ones out there, do not make the link between regional integration, the production that has increased with Ugandans coming into the money economy, and the opportunities, direct and indirect, that they can receive. So we'd be happy for you to give them a detailed message around those opportunities. Thank you, Excellency.
This is where the Africans are in big danger if you don't wake up, your generation. Because there are two issues. Prosperity. Where does prosperity come from? Prosperity comes from a wealth creator like myself. Me, I'm a wealth creator. I'm not a parasite. I'm a cattle keeper. And I'm a grower of bananas. But when I grow bananas and I keep cows and produce milk and produce beef, the Banyankore don't buy from me. Why? Because the Banyankore also have their own milk, their own beef. They don't buy from me. The ones who buy from me are the people of Kampala. So that's why me, I am a lover of Uganda. Because Uganda is the one which is crucial for my prosperity. You can see my cows there. In Tezobu Jaja, but Stadio. Now, they are the ones who buy my milk, who buy Uganda, Kampala, are the ones who buy my beef, who buy my milk, who buy my bananas. And that's why I say patriotism. Love Uganda. Other people say love Ankole, love Buganda. I say, yes, I love those, but Uganda is, I need it more than any of those. Because it's the one which will support my prosperity more. But then, because I'm a big producer, and other people who are producing a lot, we have now discovered that Uganda is not enough to absorb our products. We need East Africa. We need Africa. So that's why we say patriotism, add on Pan-Africanism. You must love Africa for your own good. You must love Uganda for your own good. So when I see people talking about all sorts of things, but we're not talking about that, I feel sorry, very sorry, and very concerned about you people. By that time I will be in heaven with Ibrahim, we shall be sitting in heaven there. And we will be suffering here. Like Latin America, you can see Latin America the way it is happening. Why is Latin America miserable? And yet in terms of natural resources, it's actually much richer than the United States. If you look at the water, you look at the minerals, you look at the forests, Latin America is richer than the United States. Why should the United States be more prosperous than the Latin America? Because of that difference of integration. When the American colonists separated from England, they formed the nucleus of the United States. The 13 colonies, they formed the nucleus, then they have been adding on. That's why in America you can easily succeed if you are a businessman. Because if you are in New York, you produce a product, you can sell it all the way up to California. 300 million people. Now in Latin America, you are in Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, you are here. If you produce a product, you can't. How would you succeed? Here in Africa, if I produce a product to go to here, I must negotiate. To go there, I must negotiate. That's why we had to try and revive this African community. Now, but there's also the issue of strategic security. That's why for us we support the Federation of East Africa. Because as we speak today, the Americans are on the moon. The Chinese are on the moon. The Russians are on the moon. The Indians are going to the moon. You fellows, you are here. We are here on Earth, here. The Europeans are looking at us from space like here. They are seeing us, we don't see them. This is very dangerous. And you have all these Katendes, all these fellows, influencers. What are you influencing? Why don't you say, you people, you are in danger? People are on the moon, we are here. They are seeing us, we don't see them. But can Uganda and the Americans, they have been saying so openly, they say for them, they want to be superior in land forces, superior on land, superior at sea, the Navy, superior in Air Force, superior in space. Where does that leave Africa? Africans are here, dance mpaka China. Yes, you dance if you want, but please, look at your future. Where is your future? How will you be safe? How will you be safe in the world? So that's why you can bring my tablet. Can you bring my picture? Nikuli. I'm lucky to see this Gen Z Wanange. Let me see me Wanange. Let me find Change. Bring my picture. Wanange Katonda Jari. Abakuru bano bona bali wano ngana funa mukishambalage. Tetubadeko. So that's why we was talking of the East African. For economic prosperity, it must be economic integration in East Africa and the whole of Africa, a common market of Africa. We need a common market of Africa. We have started, and we have got what we call CFTA, the Continental Free Trade Area, so that we can trade. The market is there. Ate wonya Africa wano n'abantu abalala obewunya. The Chinese are 1.5 billion inside China. But you find the Chinese dying for more markets. Banama akawumbuka mu China. Nate balwanira nakatala kafe akabantu million atano. Somebody with 1.4 billion people is still hungry for more market. You, of a smaller number, you are not even bothered. Dance back at you. Are you not an endangered species? Why don't you see that? Why would the China get worried? Yet he has already got 1.4 billion people inside Abamugurako. You are not bothered, you are just here. So that is for economic prosperity. But there is a strategic security. Because with the economic integration of East Africa, of the common market of Africa, we shall deal with the economy. businessmen will have a market where to sell, and they would invest more. And if they invest more, they create jobs, the jobs we are talking about. Because if I'm a businessman, I sell more, I expand, I create more jobs. But that one does not address the issue of army, because the common market doesn't involve army. Defense. We need an African political unit that can guarantee the defense of the black race. That's why we have been talking for the last 60 years of the East African Federation. East Africa would have the capacity to go to the moon and check on what those fellows are doing there. The moon is a common property. Mukora chiwano, kumwezi. Na Afrika tuli wano, tuli dance mpaka chini. People on the moon, they are looking at us like, these insects which eat sugar. The insects, walwe biwuka ebirya sukari. Ebinyomo, tuli wano ng'ebinyomo, batulengala bulengezi, oyinza kuleeta ddumu n'ofuuyira n'ebifo byonna n'okutegeera kibitegedde ani abisi. So this is very dangerous. Naye kambaleetere ekifaananyi kyange. You can continue, Natasha, they bring my...
Okay. Our next question will be, thank you for your responses, Mzee, always very enlightening, always. I pray that they stick with us. The next question is from Hassan Chikomeko.
I want to first wish a Happy New Year, Your Excellency.
Hassan who?
Chikomeko. Hassan Chikomeko, Kana Kambata. I work with Fly Express, led by Chairman Peter Kagwa, and I'm your neighbor in Entebbe. Okay. I've been the youth chairperson of Entebbe Municipality.
Okay.
Allow me Mzee, mfukamile nkwebaze kuba oli jjajja. Thank you for the peace. I'm one of the youth who appreciate what we have in Uganda. Weebale nnyo, nsaba Mukama akutukuumire nti akaseera ne we kali bakatuuse ng'ovuddeko olisigala okyawabula Uganda in terms of security and peace. Tulya, tunywa, tutambula, byonna tubikola. Thank you very much. I want also to thank Madame Masera. If it wasn't her, I wouldn't have been here, for recognizing me. My question is, Your Excellency, having led Uganda for decades and having witnessed different generations, as Uganda prepares the next generation of leadership, what structures are you putting in place to ensure young Ugandans transition from dependency to productivity, especially in employment, skills development, and access to capital? Thank you, Your Excellency.
No, it is what we have already talked about. For the capital, we have all these funds which we started, PDM, all those funds, they are there. For the beginners, for the richer ones, there is UDB. We have put quite a lot of money in UDB. And we're going to keep adding on. Now, for the market, that's what we anticipated. That's why we negotiated with East Africa to have a common market. For infrastructure, you see what we have been doing. Electricity, the roads, now the railway. But now also to mindset change. That's why we are talking of the new syllabus in the schools, the skilling hubs, like you saw those young people there talking. So we are working on every side, software and hardware both. We are working on both for you to succeed. Software including attitude. Yeah.
Thank you, Mzee. Thank you. Next question is from Marcela Kareche.
Mzee, you've already touched on Pan-Africanism, citing strategic security as a major reason. And you kind of preempted this question, but please repeat your wisdom. What lessons can we learn from America's actions in Venezuela, for example, recently?
Well, the one thing you can learn is that Venezuela, I don't know what they are fighting for. I'm still watching, studying it, because the Americans are saying that this was the Uganda August of June 1963. I remember I was at Ntare in the school. They hung this paper on the notes board. And I was so happy because we had Kenyatta, Obote, Mwalimu saying now they are going to cause East Africa to build East African Federation that year, 1963. Wadri, come and take it and take it around. Wadri, come. Muleke. Mawadri. Okay, now you take it around. Go from here, this side. You keep it. It's your gift. So, I don't know what they are quarreling about. The Americans are saying that some of the Latin Americans are sending drugs to the U.S. But whatever the case, we shall find out, we shall learn more. But whatever the case is, you can see the gaps, which I'm telling you about. Because the Americans are operating from 4 dimensions. They're operating from sea, they're in the sea. The Latin Americans are not there. They don't have a navy. Then they can come with air force, and then space. They're in space. Now they are trying to come on land, which of course is very risky also for the Americans. There you come near, because even me, who has got a short range, I can harm you. But there you are at an advantage. You are seeing me in space. I'm not seeing you. You are in the ocean. I'm not there. I'm here. So this is what we are talking about. That the Africans, because of that was our target in 1963. And Mwalimu was going to move, but Kenyatta and Obote decided to remain big fishes in small ponds. Some people like that. When you're a big fish in a small pond, you feel very, very big. But when trouble comes, you may not survive. So, the issue of the strategic security of Africa is very crucial. East African Federation, I'm glad the East African leaders have never given up. Even when we were last in Arusha, they appointed me as an advocate for the Federation, so that we are able to unite our land space, unite our sea space, have more resources to be able to build capacity in the 4 dimensions: on land, at sea, in the air, and in the space. Go to space. We must go to space. We can't remain here when other people are in space and you think we are clever. Dancing and watching European football clubs. It's very, very risky for you people. So you should wake up and wake up the young. Yes, the young generation should have pleasure, but also they must have security, a secure future. And they have all the potential, because like East Africa is very strong. Because we can use Swahili. They are the same groups. You have Kenyans like Nyangweso. That Nyangweso is a Kenyan. He's here. All those Samias are from Kenya. Then we have Congolese. Also here, Banyarwanda, they are all. So East Africa is a very powerful unit for the black race. Yes, you can have smaller countries in the world, like in Denmark, but they all have a center of gravity. When they're in trouble, there's a big boy like the US to defend them. Now the African race have no center of gravity. And you are here just dancing in Pakachini. Very risky very risky. I was young like you. I would also dance, swing girls like this. But I will also remember to fight. Fight, study, fight, work, and dance once in a while. But the problem is that you are now dancing all the time. Thank you very much.
Our next question is from Sean Ibrahim.
A jazz with Jaja. Thank you, Mr. President, for the peace. I want to thank you in two dimensions. Being a very good peacemaker, you've made Uganda ekifo buli omu kyasobola okuba nga yeeyagaliramu ng'akola emirimu. Nange nasobola ofuna omwoga ogwa TikTok kwenkolera emirimu nga promoting Uganda positively. And another thing, I want to thank you for being a good father. Look at Natasha, Precious Kamwine, my cousin. If it wasn't him, I wouldn't have been here. It is such a very big recognition for us who always fight for the government online. My question is, what motivates you to be the person you are? We've seen you on several occasions, you're doing the press-ups. Even recently, yesterday, I saw you standing in the rain without moving. Like, what motivates you to do all that at that age? And another thing, Mr. President, I'm 30 years, but I always pray for you. I no longer pray for myself. I pray for you. You live longer and longer. At least on my age, at least they subtract some age to give to you so that you can keep this country intact. Because at least maybe my purpose will not be very much, but your presence, over 40 million people are relying on you. They are there dancing, they are there fishing, farming, and all those things. My question is, what motivates you to be the person you are? My name is Sean Ibrahim.
Now, what motivates me is because I love myself. I love myself as a person of the Cow clan, Owente, as a Munyankore Mhororo, as a Ugandan, as an African. I'm very, 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 I love you people. Now I have children. All of you are my children and grandchildren. And we could see from the 60s when we started following, we could see that if we didn't do this or that, we could be in danger. Could be in danger. The world is not kind. If you are weak, you can disappear. And I don't want my race, my African people, to disappear or to become slaves. Because when you hear America, the people whom you call Americans now are Europeans who went and took the land of the Indians. Because the Indians were stupid, they were not organized. And the Europeans had already tried to take our land. Those who came to South Africa, they are taking the land. In South Africa, in Zimbabwe, even here in Kenya, in the 1950s, we were learning of something they were calling the White Highlands. Part of Kenya was regarded as White Highlands. That's what they were teaching us. But what happened at that time, there were changes in the world which favored us. By 1900, the whole of Africa had been colonized. Our stupid chiefs had failed to defend us because they were fighting among themselves. So the whole of Africa had been colonized. But what happened was that in 1912, the Africans in South Africa formed the first resistance movement, the ANC. They formed modern people now. Actually, it started in the US, the black people there. Some of them started Pan-Africanism. There was a man called Marcus Garvey, another one called something else, I've forgotten their name, W.B. Du Bois. They started talking about African freedom, African freedom. When the whole of Africa had been colonized, except for Ethiopia. So in 1912, the Africans formed the ANC to resist. Then in 1917, we had good luck. Russia was taken over by communists. These are where people who had a different idea. They didn't agree with imperialism. The communists, they took over Russia. So they started working with our anti-colonial fighters. And then also, African witchcraft worked. Because the Europeans, because of their greed, started fighting among themselves. The First World War. Our African magic worked. They started fighting among themselves. The Germans and the British and all that group. And they mobilized our grandparents to go and fight for them. So our grandparents went and saw, oh, okay, this is how you fight with modern arms. So by the time they ended this First World War, their quarrels didn't end. Then they started the Second World War. That was even worse for them. By that time, they were so weak that countries like India had to get independence. Because they were not only colonizing us, they were colonizing also Asia. Asia, India, Indonesia, Vietnam, all those were colonies. So by the end of the Second World War, they were so weak, they couldn't keep India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Africa was also on the way. Now, then 1949, China was taken over by communists. So the anti-imperialist bloc was very, very big and powerful. That's how they had to give up, give independence. But otherwise, really what they wanted was to do like what happened in America, where the indigenous people either disappear completely or survive as second class. So that's why this is what I cannot accept. You can see these wonderful people, my children, my grandchildren, you people. I want you to be free people. So I can't compromise on that. And because of that, we started fighting with our own fools here, who were wasting our time. I mean, what? Toka. You don't know what you are doing, and that he wants to be our president, Idi Amin. But you don't know what you are doing. And we are in a war with serious people. Then you come here as a joker to waste our time. Get out. Toka. So that's really the motivation. Freedom for the black race. Freedom for the black race. Insurance, freedom and insurance of freedom for the black race. Now, about stamina and so on, this is partly also because of, I think I was lucky because my family, because the African people are very strong. The problem are the kings, the ones who are really wasting our time. The rulers are the ones who waste our time. But otherwise, Africans are very strong, especially in this area here. You can read what Stanley wrote. Those are explorers who came here, Huntington Speke, Stanley, they wrote, said, these Africans, these fellows are advanced, who are advanced. Agriculture, bananas, cows. The problem were just our rulers who were always fighting one another, full of themselves, king, what. Then they divide us. But otherwise, the communities are very strong. Now, the luck I had was that my family never got involved so much in the colonial system, was never involved in the colonial system. My great-grandfather was alive when the Europeans came. He died, I think, around 1915. He never joined the church. He kept with his cows. He didn't join the colonial system. He didn't join the church. He died in 1915. Then my grandfathers were there. They were rich traditional people. They never went into the churches. They never joined the colonial system. They remained with the cows. They died, I think the last died around 1943 there. It was Kaguta who was the first person to go into the church. And by that time I was there myself also. So I went with him as a junior member. And we joined the church in 1947. But even when we joined, we remained with traditional. See, traditional people are very strong. They are not very strong. Stamina, looking after cows, what. So things you find, even when I was joined the army, what they were doing, the army was much weaker than my lifestyle. As cattle keeper, you are very, very tough. So it's just luck. Because I think if I had joined the chapati eating and all that, it may have been different. But I'm an original Minyankore who knows English and has studied the world. This is the advantage really about the stamina. My uncles have just died. They were one of them died at 104 years. Another, Kaguta died when he was 97. But for most of the time he was looking after the cows. Even in the 90s, he would go and these children were seeing him. He was looking after the cows. So it is that tradition. If you can imagine a Karamojong, if he doesn't become disoriented, he is a very strong